Ask Reddit, at what point did you realize she would never become your wife / he would never become your husband? When he lost his job and 2 years later, I started to put a dot on the calendar whenever you went to the casino while I was at work. The fact that I felt the need to do it was telling enough, but then when faced with it, he flat out denied how often he was going. He was going 3 to 4 times a week, and I found out later he was thousands of dollars in debt. I was out of there. When she asked me to bring her home fries after work, so I stopped into McDonald's and got her 2 large fries. I came in with them. She proceeded to take the bag from me, open it up, pull out the fries and throw them in the trash right in front of me. I was pretty shocked and asked what was wrong. I wanted frozen fries, then asked why I even came over. This caused me to think really hard about things in the past, and there were so many other incidents like this that I just brushed off. Then I realized no matter what I did, she would resent and not be happy with me. I don't even remember what the argument was about anymore, but when he grabbed me by the throat in the car was the moment. There's no going back from that or moving forward. Quietly made my exit plans, called off the engagement, and left. That was the first escalation, and I don't doubt that it would have increased over the years had I stayed. Given choking / strangulation is one of the strongest predictors for being murdered by, and so there's a decent chance you would have ended up dead. Good on you for leaving immediately. Yeah, the statistics are pretty high for strangulation leading to murder. I stayed in an abusive relationship for 8 years because at least he doesn't hit me. The abuse was all emotional and psychological. And actual gaslighting, which I didn't know about until I left. The day he put his hands on me and strangled me, I was smart enough to leave. When the police came and I was arrested, a long story in my post history, a lovely cop looked me in the eyes and said, "If you go back, he will kill you." When I moved into my parents' house and they told me they had been waiting for the knock on the door by the police to tell me I had been murdered by him, it really hit home how much danger I was in and how lucky I was to get out when I did. I had an actual gaslighter too. I wish I had known about the concept back then, 13 plus years ago, or that society in general had a better grip on the reality of emotional abuse. I heard he doesn't hit you so he's not abusive so many times. I have some memory problems, but the problems relate to recalling old childhood memories, not recent ones. He picked up on my memory struggles and ran with it. Anytime he did something nasty, if I tried to stand up for myself, I would just be subjected to hours of being harangued about my bad memory, how I wasn't remembering anything correctly, how I was crazy and stupid, and I was lucky he loved me because no one else ever would. Last straw was when he made a friend of ours cry at a party, refused to apologize, was told to leave, and refused to go unless I left too. I didn't want to go because I knew the mood he was in. I was going to get it, but I had to. And I did get it. Hours of screaming about how I got us kicked out and how everyone hated me and I was the worst person in the world. Next day, convinced I was a dick, I called our friend to apologize. She was horrified that I thought I had upset her, and an hour later she was at my house, helping me pack, and waited until he got home so I could end it and tell him I was leaving. Love that girl. So grateful to her for being the one who finally stood up for me amongst all the blind eyes. I found a text to his friend saying he saw no future with me. We had been together 4 years, and he had recently convinced me to leave my high-paying job to move to a small town for his career. We were living together, super poor. One of our favorite bands came to town, Big Sugar. We talked about it, but it wasn't in the budget. Friday night rolls around and he's getting dressed to go out with the guys. "Where are you off to? A Big Sugar?" What? We talked about this and decided we couldn't afford to go. Oh, we can't. But I can. When I realized I was making excuses for his behavior instead of feeling proud to call him mine. I've honestly had that epiphany for a lot of friendships. That feeling in the pit of your stomach when you realize how many excuses you make for their shit, and then honestly ask yourself if you could see yourself, even on a terrible day, treating someone the way they treat you. Honestly ask yourself if you could see yourself, even on a terrible day, treating someone the way they treat you. I'm stealing that reasoning. It's GD powerful. Thank you. When I poured my heart out to her, talking about the things that I was passionate about, and then she looked at me and said, "I'm bored," with a self-amused look on her face, like she thought she was being cute. A terrible, terrible gift, but a gift nonetheless. It's good when trash self-identifies. I hope you know the gravity of your statement. It is incredible when someone's assholery is so obvious. When it's subtle, only divine intervention can rip you away. And by then, massive amounts of damage have already been done. When we got in a fight, he punched a hole in the closet door, then went to the liquor store and took his anger out on the wrong person, who proceeded to hit him over the back of the head with a bottle and give him a skull fracture. He was absolutely insufferable. Refused treatment by the ambulance. Refused to let me take him to there. Refused a second ambulance treatment. He had a splitting headache for days, and finally he let me take him to the ER after like 6 days, and he found out he had a skull fracture. When he got out, he needed 24/7 observation for 2 weeks, and I had a job and a kid, so I couldn't do that. I called his mom, who came and took him, and when he came back, I had all of his stuff packed up in his van ready for him to move out. I did not play. Honestly, you did great. This type of behavior shows that he's not considerate at all, not of himself, nor your feelings. Imagine you guys had kids, and he was out and about being this reckless. SMH. I was hit by a distracted driver as we were each traveling 50+ mph. He T-boned me at an angle toward the front of my car, causing me to spin across multiple lanes of traffic and go backward into a steep ditch off a major highway. He was my emergency contact, and my iPhone immediately notified him of my potential accident as well as my location. He texted to ask if I was okay. I said I wasn't sure, but I'd been hit at high speed and to please come to the scene as I was very upset. He said he'd just gone over to his parents' house for a BBQ and that he'd check in with me later. I had a concussion for 2 weeks and was severely bruised everywhere. My dad ended up coming, and all my concussed brain could do was keep asking when my partner was going to arrive. My dad said, "Honey, he wouldn't leave a barbecue after you were in a serious car accident. I don't think he's ever coming." Found out 2 months later that he'd also been cheating on me for about 8 months as well. This was all this year. Sometimes I still can't believe it. We were together for 3.5 years. When did someone you love hurt you? Feel free to share in the comments below. Please consider subscribing and liking.